Having a bit of fun on the swing up at the Blue Mountains today. This little video is just designed to help you avoid some of the more common mistakes in filling out the wedding paperwork, the notice of intended marriage specifically, which is the form that you need to get into your celebrant at least 1 calendar month before you can legally get married in Australia. So here's a little video, how to avoid the more common mistakes when you're filling out your NOIM. Hope it's helpful. God bless. All right, how to fill out the notice of intended marriage, sometimes called the NOIM. But primarily this is for people who maybe live interstate, overseas, or just for whatever reason aren't able to meet face-to-face with their celebrant. So if you are printing this out at home, first 2 pages, this one and this one, they don't need to be printed out. You can certainly for your own records, but they are for you to keep anyway. So they don't need to be sent off. That's pages 1 and 2. So here's page 3. This is the first page that you fill out for celebrants' use up here. That just deals with the time and the place and the date of the ceremony. It's really good for celebrants to be at the right place at the right time. So very handy if that's filled out.
Now we'll move down to the main body of the form. Most of it is fairly straightforward, so we'll move through it fairly quickly.
How would you like to be known? Are you a groom, a bride, or a partner? Your surname goes there, your given names.
And then we move down to your sex, and that's where you put male, female, or unspecified.
And then moving down, usual occupation, so that is what you do for a living. Your full address goes in usual place of residence here, so that's the place that you're living on the date that you fill out and sign the form.
Then we move on to conjugal status, and the mistake sometimes people make here is they put either single or de facto, but they're not actual conjugal status. What the government's looking for here is either never validly married, widowed, or divorced, and that's what you'll put in there. There's one sort of unusual exception there. If you are married but you're waiting for your divorce to go through at the date that you sign the notice of intended marriage, you can put married as your conjugal status, but then in brackets if you could just write divorce pending. So that's conjugal status.
Birthplace, if it's in Australia, the town or the city and the state. If you were born outside of Australia, the city or town and the country. Date of birth, straightforward there. Number 10, if you were born outside of Australia, you write the total period of residence in Australia. Now we're dealing with your parents' details down 11 through 14. Father's name in full. Beneath that is your mother's maiden name in full. And this is probably where most people go wrong on the form. They read mother's maiden name, so they just write her maiden surname. That's not what you want to do. They read mother's maiden name in full and they start writing her full name, but out of force of habit, they write married surname. So what you want to write here is your mother's full name as it was on her birth certificate is a really safe bet. All right, so that goes there. And then not town, not city, but just the country of birth of your father and the country of birth of your mother.
All right, moving on. If you have been married before, you do need to fill out this bottom section as well. If you have not been married before, you can leave it blank.
All right, page 3 done. Over to page 4. He'll ask, you'll have to answer the most awkward question ever. Are the parties related to each other? So tick or cross in either of those boxes, whichever applies. If you are related, you need to write what your relationship is in that box there.
And now we move down to the signature section, and this is where you need to get your signature witnessed by an authorised person. And you'll see there in the small print, there are people who are authorised to witness your signature if it's signed in Australia, and then there are another set of people authorised to witness your signatures if it's signed outside of Australia. Basically, to sum it up, for most people signing it in Australia, you can get it witnessed by a JP, a Comdec, a police officer, or a medical practitioner. Get your signature witnessed by one of those authorised people, and we are good to go.
The rest of page 4 down here is for your celebrant to figure out when they cite your ID. Hopefully that really helps and makes it easy for you to fill out your notice of intended marriage. Hope you have an incredible wedding. Most importantly, an incredible marriage. Thank you so much. God bless.